For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Monday, the 11th day of October 2021 here in the Cayman Islands. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. For those who are ill today and are either at home or at a medical facility, we wish you a speedy recovery, or if you're in isolation or in quarantine, we also wish you a speedy exit from quarantine or isolation as well. We're told that it is not easy to be in isolation or in quarantine for 10 days, 14 days, whatever. It is not easy, mentally stressful and everything. But if that is what it takes to keep us safe, to keep you safe, then we have to go that extra mile and what some people say, grin and bear it, as well. So talking about birthdays today, my good friend Eddie Powell celebrating his birthday today. And we will also be talking about National Heroes Day and our uniform branches. And this one, I was unable on Friday to share it with you, but Mr. George Watson, former, was he a Chief Inspector of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force, or Police Service, not Force, Service, and his wife, Jennifer Watson, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary last week, Thursday. So we want to wish them a belated happy 50th wedding anniversary, as well. And I'm sure that we may even get a story or two about Mr. Watson's career in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as we talk about National Heroes Day this morning. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Radio voice of Mr. Paul Akal waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided, courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at For the Record, one word, For the Record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, if you want to just simply follow us, you can do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Like I said, this morning we're going to be talking about National Heroes Day in the Cayman Islands. It will be celebrated on Monday, the 24th of January 2022. It's normally celebrated the fourth Monday in January, National Heroes Day. I'll give you a little bit of historical information on that as well. It says in 1993, the Legislative Assembly passed the National Heroes Law, providing for the declaration of persons who have rendered exceptional service as national heroes. And of course, the first national hero was the late Executive Council member, Honorable James Manoa Borden in the Cayman Islands, and we have had several national heroes since then as well. So, as you've heard before, in January of next year, we will be celebrating our uniform branches, some of the uniform branches of the Cayman Islands. And it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning some persons from management within some of the uniform branches of the Cayman Islands government, and I'm going to go around the table and ask them to introduce themselves. So we're going to start with Mr. Marlon Borden. Mr. Borden, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, and good morning, Cayman Islands. This is Marlon Borden, Deputy Director of the Customs and Border Control Service. My portfolio responsibilities includes, but not limited to, everything. Management support services. That's basically what my portfolio is. And as we progress during the conversation, then I'll speak more on that.
Okay. And we'll go over to Mr. Miller.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Miller, and I'm delighted to be here. I'm a big fan of the show, so actually it feels good to be here this morning. I'm a supervisor at Her Majesty's Prison, and I, at this time, specialize in behavioral management as a program facilitator.
Okay. And last but not least, Mr. Hansen.
Good morning. Great to be here. Thank you for the invite. Steve Hansen, in charge of training and development at Northwood Prison. Been here for 21 years. Regular listener to the show. Great to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, so we're going to start, and rather than focusing on National Heroes Day itself, we want to talk about the various branches that you represent, because that is extremely important. It is important for people to know and understand what it is you do, and at the same time, we can probably use part of the show as a recruitment drive, as well to, attract those persons who may be interested in serving their country in one of our uniform branches to do so as well. And Mr. Borden, even though you may not be authorized to speak on behalf of other branches of the uniformed service in the Cayman Islands, you have had the opportunity to serve in more than one branch, as well. As a matter of fact, we have Her Majesty's Prison Northward represented here, but at one point in time, the police service were also the prison service. It was all wrapped up in one as well.
Absolutely. I joined the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service in 1982 and moved through the ranks up to Detective Superintendent in charge of criminal investigations. Working in the RCIPS is like a university. You see everything, you understand everything, and still you don't understand. Basically, it's a wide variety of exposure that you get once you're in the police service and you're focused, and you have a deep interest in community service. I would always advise that you must be a friend of the community, because it's true having such a wonderful relationship with the community that you're able to resolve some of the challenges that we find in our community. That said, you can't be too friendly with the community, because then individuals will take it the wrong way. But you have to be a friend of the community, because we have to be unbiased. We have to be very solid in what we do and be fair, most of all. I worked in the training department. I worked in, what we called at that time Georgetown District Commander. The island was actually divided into district commands at that time. So I was the district commander. I was in charge of the Drugs Task Force as well, and I was in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department. Of course, there are special things that actually occurred throughout that time that I had responsibility for, certain special groups and so on. But it gave me an opportunity to realize that it's a large operation. It is a significant, it's many different areas within the RCIPS that individuals that actually feel interested and feel moved and encouraged to be able to contribute to their society, they can actually find it there in the police service. And not only that, but you never do the same thing twice. It's always a different type of circumstance that you learn something from it. So it's not like it becomes monotonous. It's always that opportunity to be there and get involved. Then I moved on to the Department of Labor and Pensions as the Deputy Director for Labor, where I dealt with employment and employee-related issues and health and safety matters. And that, again, was a new dimension. And that gave me an opportunity to utilize some of the skills that I actually acquired during my police career in there and actually pass some of that on to some of the staff members. And then I eventually moved on to Customs and Border Control, where I'm at now, before it was formerly Customs, before the merger on the 1st of February 2019. And I started off there in the law enforcement component of Customs. And then eventually I took over management support services to be in a position to move forward some of the initiatives that we had actually put in place as a result of the changes in the law enforcement aspect of it. So in a nutshell, that's basically, my snapshot in the terms of my various posts in different government departments.
Mr. Borden, thank you very much for that. We're going to go to a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Britton Borden Grant, 1913 to 1995. Britton Grant, the son of Hannah Grant, had the first movie theater in Cayman Brac, and it provided entertainment for the whole island. He was a successful businessman who owned a retail establishment, Hanson's Department Store, and he was always willing to help poor families with little extra to feed their families. With his wife Nellie, nee Powery, he raised 6 children. Young people looking for a job to earn a little spending money always looked to him, and he would give them work, especially at Christmas time. One of his buildings is still a landmark on the island.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm, your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about National Heroes Day and celebrating members of our uniform branch. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Steve Hansen from HMP Northward, also Mr. Steve Miller from HMP Northward, and Mr. Marlon Borden from Customs and Border Control. We also have the privilege of having Chief Officer Ms. Teresa Echenike on the phone with us. Ms. Echenike, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. It is a pleasure to join you this morning, although not in person. Technology gives us the opportunity to join through other means. So it is a pleasure to be able to join you in the listening audience and the representatives from some of our uniform service this morning to talk about this very important subject area.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm not sure what you've covered so far, Mr. Connor, but again, as you indicated, we are very, very excited to be able to speak about National Heroes Day. And this year, the theme is so important for us because uniform service entities have truly proven themselves over and over, and they have provided us the services and they have ensured that our beautiful Cayman Islands are kept safe. So to acknowledge them and to be able to reward them for National Heroes Day is an amazing opportunity and a privilege for us. And some of the entities that we will be acknowledging or taken into consideration this year. Again, you have two of the entities with you in studio, but it's the Royal Cayman Islands Police, the Fire Service, Border Control, which again represents Immigration and Customs, the Prison Service, the Cadet Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Cayman Islands Regiment. So again, we are so encouraging people to give us, send in your nominations. If you need to call us, please call us to get some more information. But persons can very conveniently go online to celebrate cayman.ky and submit their nominations through that means, or they can email us at nhd@gov.ky, or they can give us a call at 244-2426. But we are encouraging, this is the last week for the nominations to be submitted, so we are encouraging the public to please go ahead and send in the nominations, because we know these entities, the staff of these entities are so deserving for our recognition, and it is truly an amazing opportunity to acknowledge the work that they are doing, keeping our beautiful Cayman Islands safe.
Can you repeat again for our audience the way that the application should be submitted, whether or not hard copies are available for those who may not have the ability to do so electronically, and where they can be obtained? Also, the fact that persons need to do the nominations themselves. You don't have a nomination committee that's going to be looking at individuals. It must be done by friends, family members, colleagues, or someone of that nature as well.
That is correct, Mr. Connor. We invite members of the public or even the individuals to submit the nomination. We have a committee that will review the nomination forms that are received, but the nominations have to be submitted by the general public. And again, persons can go online, and there's an electronic format on celebrateCayman.ky, and it is very user-friendly. It's very, very simple. The form can be submitted to us through that means. However, we recognize that there might be some persons that may need a hard copy. So hard copies are readily available at the government admin building here in Grand, and then the district admin in the BRAC. And there's a drop box that they can be dropped off in at each of the locations. But again, we are encouraging for safety reasons and for definitely better tracking, because we don't want in any way to miss anyone. So for better tracking, we are encouraging people to use electronic format, which we get immediately, and it is automatically included on our list that we have for the committee then to later review and take into consideration. But once again, I'm encouraging the public, please go on to the site. It's celebratekman.ky, and it's a very simple user-friendly form that can be submitted through that means.
Okay, and one more point of clarification before we go to our 8 o'clock news. The persons being nominated do not necessarily have to still be alive. They can be nominated posthumously as well.
That is correct. We recognize that there are persons that have passed on but have made significant contributions to these subject areas and to our community. And once again, you know, if it is a colleague of theirs that want to submit because they recognize and remember that individual, or family members that want to recognize and remember that individual, we are definitely encouraging that. So it can be persons who have passed on as well that can be nominated.
Okay, Ms. Chiniki, we want to thank you very much, for that. We're going to go to our 8 o'clock news, but if you want to rejoin us after the 8 o'clock news as well, we're going to be talking more with the prison service as well, because we also want to use this as an opportunity to highlight the various services and also to encourage persons, if they're interested in joining the uniformed services, to tell them all about what they do and how important they are to the Cayman Islands.
Definitely, Mr. Connor. I'm happy to join you a little bit later on, but I do want to give the agencies there, that's representing those entities, the opportunity to talk about what they do and the importance of their work as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, and you.
Okay, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will continue to converse with representatives of Her Majesty's Prison Northward, as well as Customs and Border Control. If you have any questions, observations, please do not hesitate. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. And at some point in time, we will open the phone lines up as well for you to call in. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman time check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Priced Right.
Big deals start at Priced Right.
That's right. And this week you can save $50 on the Ring Alarm Home Security Kit. Now only $149.99. Or get the TCL soundbar with subwoofer for $129.99. Save $40.
You'll also find the Samsung 24-inch curved computer monitor for $169.99. Save $50. And you can save big on the Husqvarna gas power washer, now $449.99. Save $100.
K-Man, it's time to live better for less at Priced Right.
Price is good until October 13th, 2021. Find more deals at pricedright.ky.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of December 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Police are seeing a disturbing trend. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
Over the past 3 months, police say there's been an increase in reports of thefts from construction sites, as well as vehicles involved in construction, maintenance, and garden work. People are stealing not only tools, but building materials as well. Police say if you're in any of these industries, there are a couple of things that you can do. One, increase lighting on job sites, and two, consider hiring on-site security. They say you should also keep track of who attends the site during the day and take note of any suspicious or unauthorized people. Vehicles carrying equipment should be secured when left unattended, and you definitely should avoid leaving materials out in the open if you can. They say it's also good to record serial numbers of equipment and mark your items so that they can be more easily identified if a theft does occur. Police also say that if you're working in these industries, they encourage you to report any instances of unusual attempts to sell you tools or equipment, since the goods may have been stolen. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Public Health is reassuring the public today after questions are raised regarding a potential link between the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine against COVID-19 and the diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome in a resident in the Cayman Islands. The chief medical officer, in a written statement, says a number of serious medical conditions have developed in people who've received vaccinations against COVID-19 in Cayman, but it is, quote, exceedingly difficult to prove cause and effect as other issues may be involved with each individual patient. The good news is that these folks have either fully recovered or are improving. And there have been dozens of cases, all of which have been recorded and some of which have been sent for further discussion to the UK Health Security Agency, which in its guidance to healthcare professionals on the occurrence of GBS following COVID-19 vaccination has noted that a causal link between the vaccination and GBS, quote, has not been proven, and there is no evidence of a higher rate of reporting of GBS following COVID-19 vaccination. In fact, the chief medical officer says the number of cases in the UK reported following vaccination are actually less than the number expected to occur by chance. To date, government says there have been no deaths in the Cayman Islands linked to the vaccine. 2020 and 2021 have been years marked with stress, conflict, and uncertainty, challenging times that have put the pressure on many people's mental health.
World Mental Health Day is celebrated on October 10th every year under the auspices of the World Federation for Mental Health, and it is endorsed by the World Health Organization.
Health Minister the Honorable Sabrina Turner tells Radio Cayman there is an opportunity to recognize and reflect on the mental health challenges all residents have been under during the past year and a half while dealing with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic right here in Cayman as well as globally.
The theme for this year's World Mental Health Day is Mental Health Care for All. Let's make it a reality. And I certainly aim to make it a reality here in the Cayman Islands. Mental health and overall wellness are very important to me in my role as your Minister of Health and Wellness. I hope to strengthen the existing mental health services available locally for vulnerable groups such as our children, youth, and elderly, but also for everyone.
Minister Turner says the country is taking steps in the right direction with increased provision of mental health counseling and educational psychologist support in schools and a commitment to construct the Cayman Islands' long-awaited residential mental health facility. In international news, the Metropolitan Police will not take any further action against the Duke of York following a review prompted by Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre. Ms. Giuffre is suing Prince Andrew in the U.S. for allegedly sexually assaulting her when she was a teenager. Prince Andrew has consistently denied her allegations. In August, the Met said it would review its decision not to investigate allegations connected to Epstein. The 38-year-old victim claims she was sexually assaulted by the prince at 3 locations, London, New York, and on Epstein's private island in the Caribbean. Her case claims Prince Andrew engaged in sexual acts without her consent, including when she was 17. The Met also confirmed it had completed its review into allegations reported in June by broadcaster Channel 4 News that British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend, trafficked, groomed, and abused women and girls in the UK. That's your latest news. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's Newsroom.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended 30th of April, 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June, 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been. 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the Health of It is heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. It is brought to you by Holy Cross Health. Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Our mission is you. Call 1-954-351-5906. Email global services at holy-cross.com or visit Holy Cross Health at holy-cross.com.
Big deals start at Priced Right.
That's right. And this week you can save $50 on the Ring Alarm Home Security Kit. Now only $149.99. Or get the TCL soundbar with subwoofer for $129.99. Save $40.
You'll also find the Samsung 24-inch curved computer monitor for $169.99. Save $50. And you can save big on the Husqvarna gas power washer, now $449.99. Save $100.
K-Man, it's time to live better for less at Priced Right.
Price is good until October 13th, 2021. Find more deals at pricedright.ky.
Did you know that in the event of a hurricane, water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use? Water may be disinfected either by boiling or through the use of chlorine bleach. To disinfect through boiling, simply leave the water on the fire for 1 minute after it begins to boil. To disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. If you are not able to smell the bleach in the water after 30 minutes, then add half of the amount of bleach that was added during the initial application. Recheck the water after 15 minutes to ensure that there is a residual bleach smell. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For more post-hurricane safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with a complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefit solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather conditions. Compliments of our friends at Pan American Life Insurance Company. Present temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Got some partly cloudy conditions, but it feels like about 90. Winds are out of the south at 4 miles per hour. Relative humidity 73%. Last night's dew point was at 75. Barometric pressure at 29.88 inches and dropping. Scattered showers along with light winds and slight seas are expected across the sister islands today in association with a weak pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean. So our forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of afternoon showers, especially over Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be southeasterly at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be smooth with wave heights less than 2 feet. Then later this evening, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be light and variable. Seas will be smooth with wave heights less than 2 feet. We're presently in a low tide. High tide is coming up at 2:31 this afternoon and low at 9:08 this evening. Tomorrow, high tide will be at 1:48 a.m., low at 8:50 a.m., high at 4:19 p.m. and low at 10:40 p.m. Sunset this evening is at 6:04. Sunrise for tomorrow at 6:19. The outlook is for an increase in showers from Wednesday evening as the upper level trough interacts with a tropical wave moving over the northwestern Caribbean. And that, my friends, is your latest weather.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221 Cannon Place East, North Song Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, have a deadline. Procrastination is common in human nature. Setting a time to review the work helps to increase motivation because you know that you have to have it done by a certain time. This also ensures that you slow down to review progress. Consider rewards if things are going well. If things are not going as well as you would like, a deadline gives you a chance to pause and reflect on the current goal to see if there may be something getting in the way of being able to get it done.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your traffic at the moment. Looking down at West Bay Road, a good flow of traffic into Georgetown. Of course, nearing closer to North Church Street and into Seafarers Way. Expect a little bit of slight delay, probably about 3-4 minutes as you make your way in. Those coming through South Church Street via South Sound, some continuing through Walker's Road. Expect some very slight delays. Traffic is not too bad this morning time. Looking down from the King Sports Center as you turn onto the Linford Pearson Highway, some movement until just going around the slight bend. You'll meet up into some traffic, but it is moving slowly, similar as you traverse along Crew Road. Of course, Shamrock Road looking favorable at the moment. Those going through South Sound, observing the speed limits, will meet up with some traffic getting closer to the Georgetown area. Of course, streets in Georgetown getting busy, but traffic is moving along quite good. Just look out for pedestrians crossing, those on scooters, bicycles, motorbikes. Buckle up and stay safe. Your traffic report, of course, brought to you by our good friends at Subway. Still haven't had time to make breakfast? You can always grab some breakfast right now at a Subway nearest you.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Hurricane season is here. If you're not prepared, it can really turn your life upside down. Fortunately, there's CG Britcay. Our people are here, ready to assist at a moment's notice, with protection like alternative accommodation for those who are displaced due to a storm, and coverage for the cost of clearing debris, hiring surveyors, architects, and more. It's our priority to make sure you have what you need when you need it most. So when your life gets turned upside down, we can help to turn it around. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Each Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Optical Outlook. Visit them at their new location in Anderson Square. Telephone 746-2020. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're discussing National Heroes Day 2022, which will take place on the 24th of January 2022. And of course we will be celebrating our uniformed services. So we're having a conversation with representatives from Her Majesty's Prison Northward, Mr. Steve Hansen, who's a prison training manager, and Mr. Steve Miller, who is a supervisor, and he's a specialist in behavioral management. Also with us, Mr. Marlon Bawden, who is a Deputy Director, Customs and Border Control. So we're going to talk a little bit about Her Majesty's Prison Northward, which has come a long, long way in the Cayman Islands, starting from when we had a lockup at the Georgetown police station years and years ago, coming from a situation where if you were sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment, you didn't serve that time here in the Cayman Islands. It was served in prison in Jamaica. So we have moved away from that as well. And I believe that our first director of prisons was Mr. Walsham Connolly, and Mr. Byron Derrick Ebanks was his deputy. they both transferred from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service over to the prison department as well. So you gentlemen have a rich history as far as prisons are concerned. Now, most people don't like to celebrate the fact that we do have prisons, but unfortunately, it becomes, one of those necessities that we have, because we're not living in a utopia. We're not living in a perfect world, and we're not perfect human beings as well. So, gentlemen, I'd like you to talk about the Her Majesty's Prison Service. We'll throw the mic over to you, Mr. Hansen.
Okay. As you know, the prison has been built in the early 80s. It was built for a specific type of inmate back then. However, the crimes, as you know, have got a lot worse and developed to the point where we have 200 prisoners in there of all categories, down from speeding, drunk drivers to rape, murder, and worse. I've worked there from 2000. I initially joined the prison service in 1987. Did my training in the UK, 9 weeks. Worked in several prisons around the UK, and eventually came here. Fell in love with the prison right away. There was so much I could see that needed to be done. They were basically in there. There was not, in my view, a lot of structure in there for them. Not a lot for them to do. Sitting around, some of them would go out and do some work under supervision and come back in the afternoon. There was a lot of smuggling going on, a lot of idle hands, which made for a lot of situations we had to deal with on a regular basis. Over the years I've been there, I've seen several directors come and do a little bit towards improving the prison and the management. And we're at a point now where the prison is in a good place, in that we do address very aggressively rehabilitation. There are a lot of programs in place. We have a lot of education programs for those people who cannot read and write. We try and arm them with the skills they're going to need for society when they're eventually released. We have IT classes. We have a farm. We grow a lot of produce for the kitchen. We have VT, Vocational Training Department, where we have motor mechanics, plumbing, electrics, woodwork, and we make a lot of items for the community which people can actually buy. So they're learning all these skills, and a lot of these classes have NVQs attached to them, so they do get a recognised certification when they do leave the prison. We address offending behaviour, and we have all kind of different classes for whatever crime you've been in: alcoholics, sex offender management, and Mr. Miller is in that department, so he'd probably be able to speak a lot more to it. We do have people working in the community now who are trusted to a point, and will go out and work in the community, and they actually are on license. They're very low category inmates who have to be drug free and within a certain time span left in their sentence. I think it's 2 years. They reside at the enhanced unit, which is next to Fairbanks. So they're totally separate from the prison. Okay. They are subject to drug tests and regular checks, but they do work in the community, and you wouldn't know who they were. They're people who've made mistakes, who need a chance, who we've give that chance to, and it's working. We have 2 stages to Rottle, Stage 1 and Stage 2. Stage 1, release on temporary license it is. They'll go out and work for free in the community, and then if they're successful, then they progress to stage 2 where they actually get paid and their wage goes into a bank account for when they are eventually released. So I've seen a lot of development. It's unfortunate that I haven't seen development in the structure of the prison. The prison looks basically the same as it looked when I came in 2000. We repair it, we patch it, we do the best we can, and that's what we do. We are in dire need of investment in the prison. If we don't get a brand new prison, then brand new units, in my view, would be acceptable. We have mentally ill inmates in the prison who shouldn't be there, in my view, again. We need a separate unit for those people. If you have 60 prisoners on a wing and you put 2 with mental ill issues, you might as well have 160. They're so unpredictable through no fault of their own. And to see them in a unit on their own would be beneficial. We have children. Children come to prison. It's said we have a children's unit. The children's unit is the end of an adult unit, which is cordoned off with a brick wall and steel doors. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not ideal. We do the best we can. But again, I would love to see something built for the children so they don't even have to come through the prison gates. They should be outside with properly trained staff to look after them. We have lifers, remand prisoners, and they mix up in together, whereas in England we would have a lifer unit where we could address and give lifers what they really need in way of programs and different kinds of benefits, and as you would with regular prisoners. So I've seen a lot of changes in the 21 years I've been here. There's a lot of I just mentioned it earlier, a lot of skillful inmates in prison who actually have good skills in the building trade. I've seen prisoners build education units, do the plumbing, do the electrical work, all without any kind of recognized qualifications. So what we're doing now is trying to give them the recognized qualifications as well. So when they go out, hopefully, I see them on the street and not back in prison.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to be speaking with Mr. Steve Miller, who is a supervisor, and he is involved in behavioral management as well, Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamped Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
COVID-19 vaccines are the only way forward in reopening our borders safely. Take the COVID-19 vaccine to protect yourself and the ones you love, especially those of us who cannot get vaccinated. For more information on the COVID-19 vaccine, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about National Heroes Day, which will be celebrated on January the 24th, 2022. We will be celebrating our uniformed services, and we have representatives from two of our uniformed services here in the studio with us this morning. Deputy Director of Customs and Border Control, Mr. Marlon Bawden. Also with us, we have Mr. Steve Hansen, who's the prison training manager, and Mr. Steve Miller, who's a prison supervisor, and he's involved in behavioral management as well. On the prison side of things, it is not an easy topic to talk about when we're celebrating the service. Like I pointed out earlier, it is a service that is certainly needed, but at the same time, we certainly can celebrate those individuals who have contributed to the service. And I mentioned the first two Caymanian directors and deputy directors of the prison service. If we went further back than that, the commissioners of police would have been the directors of prison service as well when they were all combined. But we have a completely different situation now. We are also focusing our efforts on the needs, the particular needs of prisoners, as well, and to do that in a more positive light. But I'll have you, talk more about that. You're better trained to do that than I am.
I'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
I've only been in the prison service for 6 years. The 21st of October, actually make 6 years that I've been a prison officer. And I remember why I joined. And it was not about, rehabilitation or, locking up inmates or anything like that, because I had no knowledge on that. I was in college and I said, geez, I want to buy my house at 20. And if I keep going to school, that will never happen. So I started applying for work, and I applied for the prison in 2014, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I did horribly in the interview. I did good in every single aspect, but in the interview it was horrible, and it really cut me a bit. And I said, well, I never wanted to get in anyway, and my mom rejoiced because she didn't want her son in prison. Because naturally when people hear prison, they think it's a place that I don't want to be in, it's a place that I don't want my family to be in, it's a place that I don't even want to talk about. Naturally, that tends to be the view of people, and my mom was no different. And I remember the following year, a friend of mine, because we applied together, who got in, and he said, yeah, we should apply again, And I did, and I was the best this time, to say the least. And over the years, I've really applied myself, because I learned more as I get in. I understood what rehabilitation is, and it's not just about locking up prisoners. It's not about, lock them up and throw away the key. It's more than that. It is about loving someone who's never been loved. It's about being a father figure or a brother or an uncle, because a lot of time you realize that these guys are coming from broken homes, broken families, and that is sort of what led them to being in the position that they're in. And then they come to us for help. Now imagine if you were in our position, right? People are coming to you for help, but the facility that you have is, not really fit for purpose. And that is what we have to work with at the prison, which is a very difficult task. But we do our best at doing that. And we see some good results, like we'll go out and we'll see guys who were actually in prison. And we say, how are you doing? And they say, boy, everything that you've taught us, we've actually held on to and we're doing our best. Now, as Mr. Connor mentioned, I specialize in behavioral management, which means when it comes on to dealing with prisoners directly, meeting their needs where education is concerned and behavioral management is concerned, I am directly involved in that. And as a result, I would understand exactly how they view things. And I remember one specific, in one class, I was speaking to an inmate and he looked at me and he said, Millie, you know what? This is my view, If I'm doing something and it's providing for my family, it's good in my eyes and it's good in God's eyes. And I don't care about anybody else. And I said, I could understand that completely, but let's reverse the roles. What if I said that and whatever I did had an impact on your family? Maybe I killed your son. How would that make you feel? And it goes to show that inmates tend to not necessarily think about their actions or who it impact. They just do whatever provides for them. And then our job now is to take them and say, listen, we understand that that is what you've been doing. That is why you're in this position. The same family that you wanted to take care of, you're taken away from them because of what you were doing. So now this is the route that you're supposed to take, because it is possible. Many people out there are doing it. It's not like the entire society is in prison. You know what I mean? And that is what we have to do as staff, encouraging them. And, it is so important that that actually comes out in the service, because at the end of the day, if that is not happening, then we will have recidivism just growing up, and it's quite high at this time, just to say the least. And it goes a long way, because when it comes on to delivering certain programs, we don't necessarily have capacity for that in terms of building and stuff like that, So we really want to look into getting a new prison, and that will really help us to do a much better job in terms of rehabilitation. And, I also want to mention that we've always thought, or the community has always thought, that rehabilitation is just for the prison, and that is false. That is a false notion. It couldn't be further from the truth. It is a community work, because rehabilitation does not end with the prison. It also incorporates reintegration. Mm-hmm. And if individuals who were in prison and are coming out, and you decide that you're going to treat them a certain way, remember, we are dealing with them and telling them that you need to learn to live in society and stuff like that. But when society is not accepting of them, when they've paid the time for their error, that will probably create a worse prisoner than the one who actually came to prison. And that is something that we, as a community, we have to take into consideration. So if you know any prisoner and you have a business and they're seeking employment, give them a chance, because that's what they really need, a second chance at life.
Mm-hmm. And any word of advice for those persons who have a desire to join Her Majesty's prison service northward in terms of what they should be motivated by, what they should expect, and what is expected of them when they join the service, between you and Mr. Hansen and that?
Okay. We're always looking for driven men and women, young Caymanians, who want to make a difference, who don't want a job but want a career, who want to develop, like Mr. Miller has developed over the 6 years I've known him. And I interviewed him on those interviews, and he has come a long way. We want to meet life changers, people who want to be part of a team, who want to get heavily involved in rehabilitation. We want you to apply, and we want you to go through the procedures and then come on interview and sell yourself to me. Tell me what you can do for us, not what we can do for you. I want to know what you're bringing. We have a lot of applicants every time we recruit, and that goes to show that we are a very popular place to work now. I remember when we used to have vacancies back in the day, 2000, I'm not going back too far, we didn't get that many applications. Now we have 450 plus for 5, 10, 20 jobs, whatever we have, and we have to sift through them. And it just shows that, you know, we are a place that younger people want to work. We're getting a different mentality of people who want to come to the prison now. Like Mr. Miller, he's very educated, very driven, determined to make a difference. That's who we want. So we're going to have another recruitment drive pretty soon. I was talking to the director only last week about it, Mr. Barrett, and we will be addressing it pretty soon. So we go through the application process. We sift through the applications, and then we have the exam. Then we have the fitness test, and then we have the interview. The interview is where most people don't hit the mark, and a lot of it is through being nervous on interview, to be honest. Don't be afraid, and we're only people. We want you to come and sell yourself and show us what you can offer the prison service. The training is very, very well structured. It's actually lifted from the UK prison officer entry-level training, which I got from Mr. Barrett, who's helped me enormously with the training development over the last few years. Every subject we deliver, and there's some 95 subjects which we deliver over a 9 to 11 week period, depending on the size of the class. The last class of 21 Kimanians took 11 weeks, which is fine. Everyone learns at a different pace. So we go as quick as the slowest person. And if we don't understand anything, we go over it again and again until we get it right. Every subject carries trainer notes, PowerPoint, lesson plan, and feedback from the recruits on every single session. So if anyone ticks anything that they don't understand, I go over it and we go back again. The training is not difficult. A lot of prison work, I've always said, is common sense and just doing the right thing. We teach a lot of subjects, too many to list. Decency, integrity, commitment, excellence is what we're looking for. We have professional standards. We do accountability, report writing, FMI training, which is 5-minute intervention, where we reverse the role on the prisoner. Instead of us telling him what we want him to do, we use Socratic questioning so he can think for himself and tell me how he thinks he can solve the problem. All kind of training which is very beneficial. And after the 11 weeks of basic training, I call it, it's their basic toolkit. And they take that into the prison, and then they're on a 6-month probationary period where they're reviewed several times by me, and I get feedback and I provide reports to the director, and hopefully after that 6 months, they are kept, and then they can go on and become the next Steve Miller.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We're going to take our last commercial break. When we return, we're going to hear from Mr. Marlon Borden about customs and border control. Of course, that is a relatively new concept in the Cayman Islands, where we have amalgamated the Immigration Department and the Customs Department. At one point in time, Customs and Immigration were the two most popular governmental departments, uniform branches where, persons were attracted to. We'll hear from Mr. Borden whether or not that is still the case. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch roof. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
The Department of Commerce and Investment is asking clients to use their online services at www.dci.gov.ky for trade and business amendments, grant and renewal applications, and more. While the DCI counters remain open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, you can stay safe, avoid the line, and save time by applying online for business services at dci.gov.ky. For questions about the DCI's online service or other licensing enforcement or regulatory matters, please email info@dci.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about National Heroes Day in the Cayman Islands 2022. 24th of January 2022 it will be recognized. We will be celebrating it, and we will be honoring our uniformed services. If you were just joining the show earlier in our introduction, we had Mr. Marlon Borden speak about his experience, not only from a Customs and Border Control perspective, but as a former senior member in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as well. Customs and Border Control, relatively new concept in the Cayman Islands, where we have joined up immigration as well as customs. In the early days, you were Caymanian, you were gravitated either towards immigration or towards the customs service. So, and that tradition goes way, way back from the days of Mr. Arthur Ebanks, Mr. Lee, Miss Marcia, as far as the custom side is concerned. The other side of it would have been Mr. Roy Archer, Commissioner Bessant, and Mr. Carlin Nixon, and all the. At one point in time, the immigration side of things was dominated by women, by women, as well. But I'll let you talk more about that, Mr. Borden.
Yeah, I mean, I'll cut straight to the chase. Customs and Border Control Service is a wonderful organization to work for. It gives you that opportunity, like I mentioned earlier, to really contribute to the community and to help drive some economic strategies for the government. We collect and protect the government's revenue. We provide excellent customer service. A lot of people may question that and say, well, wow, I had this bad experience. Yes, that's what makes us do good jobs. When we get these kind of complaints from individuals saying that we didn't provide a good service, so we use that to our advantage. And of course, we facilitate lawful trade. On the aspect of the security of our borders concept, we're about no nonsense when it's dealing with the issues of guns drugs and crime, terrorism, or any kind of products to facilitate terrorism. For example, we watch and see if organizations move large stashes of computers. They are all was referred to as multi-purpose goods. They can be used to facilitate crime. So we look at things like that in the terms of the security. We have Cayman Brac officers, CBC officers. We have officers in Grand Cayman. And of course, we have Little Cayman that we look at as well. Trade moves and goods move back and forth. People move back and forth. Now, you mentioned about immigration and customs being, separate before. Yes, immigration were more dealing with people predominantly. Customs were dealing with more people and goods. But since the merger on the 1st of February 2019, we have to deal more with people and goods in a more larger volume and larger setting, which means we have to up our game. We have to be in a situation where we invest in proper skills, profiling, because there's thousands of individuals pre-COVID that walk and travel and come through our borders. And to just disrupt them for no apparent reason is not a good thing. So while we are doing our jobs that is so sensitive, we have to be sensitive to the needs of individuals who are legitimately moving back and forth in our borders. We got to try to prevent a lot of individuals who have no good reason for coming to the Cayman Islands coming here. One may wonder, well, how we do that. We share information. We look at the intelligence. We actually work with other partners in the region, internationally, and we share information because we know that if you're having it in the region, it's going to come to our shores as well. So we make no bones about that. Weapons, we know, for example, that individuals may try to smuggle goods in various sophisticated ways, in motorcycle parts, in car parts, all of those different kind of things. So it's a constant training and development that we have to undertake. We set scenarios to tease out the observation and memory of our staff. We use scenarios to test them. We may put contraband, firearm or something in a particular item to see whether they're going to pick it up or they're going to miss it. We use the scanners, we test the scanners to make sure that the officer's eyes remain trained. And if they miss it, we'll evaluate it and ask why. Sometimes we identify that they may have been on the bench too long, so they get tired. So we look at ways of rotating that so that we can have the best possible individual at all time. We also look at the way that we train the staff. Training. We just can't rest to say, okay, I give you training now and that's it. We have to continue that. It's rhetorical. We use different aids. For example, we use the canines to help us sniff for cash, narcotics, firearms, because we have those facilities, those items that we use to help us to actually do it in addition to our scanners to try to secure the borders. But the human element have to always be there to support that aspect of it. So an individual may ask, well, why secured borders? And that's because we got to make sure that we can manage who comes here. The goods that come here may not necessarily be prohibited or restricted, but we still needs to keep a tab on what is coming in and what is leaving the jurisdiction. Because when some prohibited item or goods leave the jurisdiction and go to a different country and is intercepted, it's reputational damage to the Cayman Islands. So we have to really be on top of it. We have various sections within CBC. We got the collection section that we collect the revenue. There we got the seaport, we got the airport, we got the freight security initiative with the container dispatch center. We have the K9 unit. We have training and development. We have professional standards. We have the anti-money laundering unit. We have a lot of different units. So it's a large operation that is actually undertaken, and we have real people that are actually managing and working these entities, these sections daily. And we may ask, well, why celebrate them? We celebrate them because this is a special occasion to put them up on the national level because of what they continue to do without a thank you in many respects. Yes, we may give them a certificate and say, appreciation for what you did, or we may put a note in your chair, or we may give you some other perk that will let you feel good about the labor that you have actually performed and made us look good. But taking it up to that level where you are nationally recognized as a CBC officer that is serving your community with a purpose is the reason why we must celebrate our staff, because they are the most important of all within our organizations, the people that we constantly interact with. They are challenged on a daily basis, but we have to let them know that we care, and the only way that they know that is when we show it. So CBC is the place to apply, it's the place to come, and the place to work, and you'll have a wonderful career.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you all very much for being here and being great ambassadors for your departments that you work for, Her Majesty's Prison Northward, as well as Customs and Border Control. We, in advance, want to congratulate all those persons who will be nominated and recognized on National Heroes Day as well. We want to remind persons that the closing date for nominations is the 16th of this month, so you need to get your nominations in. It can be a posthumous nomination. The person may have passed on. They can be nominated as well as those persons who are currently serving. But we all want to give recognition for those who put their lives on the line. Prison officer, or Customs and Border Control officer, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, emergency branches, fire service. They leave home, they leave their families, not knowing whether or not they will return home to see them, as well. They make great sacrifices, and we want to do our best to honor them. So, gentlemen, all the best. Look forward to talking more to you as well, folks. Top of the hour, headline news, 9 o'clock. When we return, we will be talking with Minister Andre Ebanks and about some of his constitutional responsibilities and some of the subjects that come under his control. He's the Minister for Investment, Innovation, and Social Development. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after headline news at 9 o'clock.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 763 COVID-19 tests on Friday. 21 came back positive, all unvaccinated patients, and all attributed to community spread. There are 148 active cases, 78 of which are symptomatic. 3 people were in the hospital as of Friday. 74% of the estimated population is now fully vaccinated. The U.S. Navy nuclear engineer and his wife have been charged with trying to sell nuclear secrets to what they thought was a foreign state. Jonathan Tobe and his wife, Diana, were arrested in West Virginia on Saturday. They allegedly tried to sell nuclear submarine design data hidden in a peanut butter sandwich to someone they thought represented another country. In fact, it was an undercover FBI agent. The Australian city of Sydney has emerged from a lockdown after almost 4 months, with locals celebrating a range of new freedoms. People queued for pubs and shops that opened at midnight on Monday specifically for the occasion. Many others have been enjoying anticipated reunions and visits to homes of relatives and friends. COVID rules had banned household visits and travel beyond 3.1 miles, separating many from families. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Youth Flex Season of Joy continues this week. Show 818 is all about making a joyful noise.
First in the hot seat will be Mrs. Cassandra Ebanks Powery from the Northside Wesleyan Holiness Church, who will be telling us about their upcoming youth convention.
Sound interesting? Join us for the lowdown on when, where, and what you can expect.
And returning for the second consecutive show is local artist Erica Asai, who will be discussing what's next for her and her musical aspirations over the coming months.
Joyful noises abound this Wednesday from 4 to 5 here on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
That's right, 1 full hour of noise. As usual, you can watch us live on YouTube or join the conversation by calling our toll-free line. We look forward to chatting with you. Call in and tell us what a joyful noise is to you, or you can just say hi. Youth Flex, a program for all people by young people. Youth Flex, more than talk.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Radio Cayman News.
Expected to gather today to protest against controversial immigration bill,
of which will mandate vaccinations for certain categories of persons.
Everyone should have the benefit of human rights.
It's really about having a personal choice of what goes into your body.
We should comply for our safety.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Thank you, Cayman, for doing your part to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. For getting vaccinated, for practicing social distancing, for wearing your mask, for adhering to quarantine protocols, for the sacrifices you've made, and for stepping up in these tough times. The changes haven't been easy, but they are working. So, keep going and don't forget, we must protect those who cannot protect themselves. Visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus to learn more.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me now Minister Honorable Andre Ebanks, who has responsibility for investment, innovation, and social development. Also in the studio with us, we have Mr. Ian Tibbetts, who's the Director of E-Government, Mr. Trevor Gibbs, who's the Senior Policy Advisor for the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development. Also joining us on Opal will be Miss Jane Scaletta, and at some point during the course of the show, we will also be joined by Miss Althea West Myers, who is the Director for the Center of Business Development. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
And Minister Andre Banks, I'll say to you, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It's great to have you in the studio again. And I think we're going to be focusing on investment and innovation, but I'd invite you to give some opening remarks as well, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to you. Good morning to the listening public in Cayman and Caymanians overseas. I told you last time that we would like to try to make this as regular as possible.
Yes.
And last time that we were on, we presented the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development, but more so focused through the lens of social development. But we tied in key aspects of how that's connected to innovation and investment. This morning, we now want to come back and more specifically focus on innovation and investment. So thank you for having us. Thank you for being open to us bothering you.
Not at all. Not a bother.
And we hope to continue to do more of this, because I think it's important for the listening public to get a preview and insight as to what the ministry is thinking and the plans that are being developed at this stage.
Yes.
And to hold us accountable as we move forward to see how these plans have been put into action and how successful they've been. So I described the last time that we met, and my father did return his hello to you.
Okay. Tell him the same here.
That we sort of looked at investment, innovation, and social development as a vehicle. The investment being the additional veins into the economy to keep the vehicle going, and the fuel. The engine is innovation of how that fuel is going to be used to keep the motor running in the most efficient way possible. And social development are the folks that are inside the vehicle that are being transported. So in terms of the fuel, that's sitting here to my right. Trevor Gibbs is part of the fuel of the Ministry of Investment. It's a team of individuals who are looking, which you'll come on to in a minute.
High octane or high octane?
I would say economical. And then also, to his right is the Director of E-Government, that's talking about innovation and being that engine. So I'll turn it over, and I don't want to steal all of the limelight because we're a team. It doesn't all rest on one individual. And have the Director of E-Government give the listening public a flavor for what's on the agenda and the sort of projects we're thinking about.
Okay, Mr. Tibbetts, so over to you, and I think you can start by telling us what's the Ministry's E-Government Department, what it's all about.
So, well, I mean,
very much aligned to what the Honourable Minister just said. We're about enabling people's lives and business in the digital economy and bringing digital government to life, right?
Yes.
So, but I guess the question for that is why? Is obviously it's for the people as we talked about, but it's about how do we make Cayman more attractive for those investors, making it very competitive, making it easier to do business. And one of the challenges that we as a country have had for a long time is around the whole identity element of it. Many cases that's for our own people, but because of the challenges we've had in that space, we tend to rely on face-to-face interactions for services, and we also have had another challenge, as you are well aware, where we have the customer move information from one department to the next for us. So we've kind of been asking a bit of a courier. Well, at the top of our agenda right now to enable that competitiveness, to make us more attractive to investors, is to make it easier to do business with the Cayman Islands government and in the country. And that digital identity is a key part of that. If you think about KYC, let's start there, right? With our banks, with government for that matter. If we can enable our people and anyone that is resident or has a right to reside here to be easily identified both physically and digitally, and we can then layer on top of that digital functionality and features that can get away from this need to always print, sign, scan, email, documents, etc. Those are the things that we're working on today and are very, we're talking about now being months away from. Literally, I was just demonstrating to Trevor while we were waiting. I have a test card in possession now that's functional, that we're working, that we're able to move forward with. So the technical implementation is well on its way. Minister is also keen, obviously on the legislation piece, and the legislation is in the works. So it's about enabling us, preparing the country for that side of things. And I spoke briefly about making it easier in terms of not having our investors, or whether it's someone local or overseas, be that courier between our departments. We've also implemented solutions to enable that. And then naturally, we need to make more and more government services more accessible and available online. Focus those not just on services that are for residents, but also for business opportunities and investors. So we have a multifaceted approach, and the minister is keen for us, obviously, to drive innovations that are not just large. It's not just about a new identity solution, but how do we do the little things that give us the efficiencies?
Yeah, if I could chime
in
Minister. There. I think Ian's right, because I've sort of been beating this drum that innovation is not just a very large, say, infrastructure projects. It can be something small. So how do we make our folks' lives easier just in terms of applying for renewing a passport? This is something that's part of your former wheelhouse, Mr. OC.
Yes.
And you have to present large swaths of documents every time. And I'm sure that if there are Caymanians listening, they feel, why am I still having to prove all this all over again? It would seem to us intuitively that this should all be on record, and I seem to have to now go back into the attic, pull out these documents, and then try to make the application again.
Or if one department has it, why is it that I have to
do it again?
Exactly.
So if we can pool, observing data protection rules, but can pool this level of information together so that it's a seamless process, those are the little things that I think will make our folks' lives easier and better. Think of the amount of time that it would take for you to now put all those documents together, then going down to the department. Inevitably with those applications, at least with me, you get it wrong the first time when you go over to the counter and the agent sends you back, validly so, and then you have to go find another piece of paper and then come back again. Think of the hours that every citizen is doing that all the time. We could use and be more productive as citizens. Ian showed the caucus a YouTube video of Estonia's cabinet that's gone completely digital, where their meetings have decreased from 4 to 5 hours to 30 minutes. The decisions that are pretty straightforward, there's unanimous, it's just as a tab, tick, there's yes, move on, no paperwork. And then they make room for decisions that take a little bit more time with a greater complexity. The amount of paper that would save, the amount of time that it would save. We do need to start moving into this direction to be a more efficient country.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. When we return, the conversation. We can continue. We can. I'm told we can talk until 9:30 because we took the 9:15 break while we were waiting to rearrange everything. So, Minister, I'll have you direct where we go with the next part of the discussion.
So what I was mentioning is just think of every cabinet minister or cabinet member's time and how much is on each of their plates. If you can reduce that meeting to 30 minutes or an hour that Estonia has it down to?
30 to 45 minutes.
30 to 45 minutes, and then those ministers can utilize the rest of their day for meetings, policy decisions. I'm just so excited that I can't wait for this sort of technology to come online, and I don't want to put Ian under too much pressure, but it potentially is very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and it's there. I know, so you have a pretty good perspective of this from history, your history with government, but I don't think people, externally have the ability to see the amount of effort that goes into into those cabinet papers and the process.
Yes.
And with technology, we can streamline so that instead of taking, the hours that it takes to create and format and to circulate and get the necessary alignment, so that when it gets to the minister, he knows that all of the interested parties have had. We can so much of that can be automated, right? That we can save hours of time, I would say on a weekly basis, for a variety of persons throughout the civil service that interact. The policy officers, the ministers, the administrative assistants and secretaries, cabinet office. I think there's huge benefit to that then allows the honourable minister and the rest of the team to focus on more, instead of focusing on process, they're focusing on deliverables and outcomes and for the country. So, and that's but one example. I mean, that's very internal, obviously, but it has the impacts are external, because the whole idea of government is about facilitating the economy, and it takes time, it takes effort, and if they have more time to focus on the innovative ideas and the strategic decisions and policies and processes, then it benefits us all overall.
Certainly.
And to give another example, two more examples, one on elected members and then a second one, so that we also put it in context again to non-elected, to the general public. The Parliament, to their credit, has issued a tablet or a laptop to all elected members, so that you can become more digital at Parliament. You've seen it. Say the tabling of annual reports of all the statutory authorities and departments and ministries. I mean, these are very thick documents that are being passed out to every member. I remember my first meeting of Parliament thinking, wow, this is a lot of paper and a lot of time. And think of how much effort it would take to print all those documents. I'm personally happy to just have the digital copy on my tablet for reference. I tend to do most of my reading that way. So it's not just the elected members, it's the whole support staff that have to marshal and copy all those documents. And then the amount of paper that's used if we're going to truly be greener and leaner. That's one example. Another example we talked about, say, as renewal of a passport. Ian touched on it in his opening remarks in terms of bank accounts. Cayman Islands, which is a whole nother show that we'll come back to with our sister ministry, financial services. As you can tell, lots of regulations are put in place for know your customer, due diligence, but private sector, particularly the financial services ministry, has said for some time, there's a way in which we can streamline the due diligence. So, for example, one bank, Bank A, Ian can say, this is all of my documentation that you need in order to establish a bank account. It's all in one file. Instead of, if Ian would like to add an additional Bank B or would like to move to Bank B and discontinue relationship with Bank A, Ian should just be able to click a button, have the same due diligence file transferred over to Bank B so that he can start his relationship without him feeling like he has to go all the way down to Bank B, provide all the documents all over again and wait for it to be approved. Those are the kind of things that we want to do to improve folks' lives.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, we could, for a moment, do you want to just maybe touch on briefly, Ian, the ID card?
Sure. So, we've been talking about this for some time, and it's been back and forth, and there's been a lot of work and really good progress made on bringing to life this Cayman Islands ID card, and as we've gone through the process of strategizing around this, it's about keeping what's the minimum amount of data that we need to have so that we can facilitate effective proof of identity and transactions and give the individual as much control over their data, ability to see the transparency, see who's used it, etc. And so that's on terms of privacy. Then you obviously have to factor in security, right? So, if you think about our standard, let's start at our passports because they're quite a secure document. It has loads of security features embedded in the physical document. It also has, in the newer passports, it has electronic capabilities for efficiency. So where you can use your kiosks at the airport, where you can scan them at the counters, etc. But all of that has security in it as well. And these are some of the key considerations in doing an ID card. Is obviously how do you get the right amount of information, how do you make it functional, and how do you make it secure and protect the privacy and identity of the individual. So that's where we've been doing a lot of the work, and we have we've gotten procurement executed in terms of to deliver the card. We literally have, as I said, test cards in hand. I mean, this is not the pretty card that will be brought out in the wild, but this literally is a functional first version of the card that actually, and you'll notice it has a chip in it, and in that chip it has some secure applications to allow you to do digital document signing, to allow you to authenticate yourself remotely, and it also has just the data that you see on the card built in there securely as well. On the back there's a QR code, and the idea of the QR code is that will allow you to be able to share your data with other persons, and you control what you share. So if you scan the QR code, you'll decide whether you've turned on the photo, you'll decide whether you've turned on the names, etc. So it gives you a lot of control. And then this, the device I'm holding actually with it is a card reader, but the card also has what you call near field or NFC, so you can scan the card. It's like a tap card. If you think about a credit card, it's got the same kinds of functionality and security baked in.
Now I know that's piqued a lot of people's interest, and they're curious to know when is this going to come about.
So obviously, from an eGov perspective, we always think about things in terms of people, process, technology, and obviously baked in their security policy, strategy, everything else. And so the policy and legal side of it is what will probably determine, because obviously this has to go to public there are laws that are involved, and it has to go to public consultation. So right now our anticipation is that we're looking at sometime in Q2 next year.
Okay.
But everything is tracking really well, and I think there's been tons of work done within my team. I have a fantastic team. It's definitely a commando team. We're down to 5 right now, but with those my team of 5 will go to bat against a team of 50 easily, right? And there's a lot of great work, and I think the minister obviously is going to come in, so there's the policy side obviously has to start up front, but the legislation piece of it, and I'm thinking that we're still on track for moving towards Q2 next year.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So the card is the end product. In order to get to the end product of something of that scale, you obviously need policy and legislation. So the legislation is in a current draft form that I'm reviewing, looking at it, scratching my head, thinking of little questions that I personally have questions about if I'm a holder of one of those cards, thinking about how it might impact the public. Then that draft will be shared with caucus to also have a view. I'm sure there'll be other questions there, all appropriate. And then the legislation in Q1 hopefully will then take a public consultation. And that the public will then be able to feed into the draft and make appropriate modifications as might be needed or desired, so that hopefully we have at least some semblance of a rollout in Q2. The functionality of that card could present a wide set of options for government. But I think what we'll do is at least start basic to identify individuals on the island that hold that card, load particular basic information to make lives easier, and then there's a range of functionality could be added in the future. But let's start simple.
Okay. Anything you want to add before Mr. Tibbetts? He'll leave us at the end of this segment, I think, right?
Yeah, this is the first half. He'll be here for his half.
Okay. So no, I think really, I think the piece around understanding, and this is one of the fundamental principles of our Data Protection Act, is what's the minimum data that you're able to function with, basically. And it's not about what data we might need or we could. It's about what do you have to have, and it's really pretty simple. If you think about it from an ID card perspective, at a minimum, obviously you need the names of the person. You need a photo so that you can, in its physical format, you can confirm that this is the person. You need their one of the big things that we're looking for is to ensure that we can communicate their immigration status for persons, and you'll need a identity number. One of the when you think about using digital technology for systems to process, it needs to be able to identify each person, each thing uniquely. And that's been a challenge for us, especially in a small community, very common names, multiple persons with the same names.
Yes.
But possibly even born in the same year because of the commonality of some of our surnames, and needing to have the ability to quickly and a system identify one person, because today it takes a name, date of birth, and a country of birth typically to reliably identify the one person, and that doesn't work very well when you try, and it certainly means that you have to convey more information if someone is trying to. If you're trying to transact with, just trying to think quickly of an entity that wouldn't need to know your country of birth, for example, or even in many cases your date of birth, they just need to know that it's you. Yeah. Whereas for them to reliably identify you from me, they may need to have all 3 of those pieces of information today. Whereas if we can get to where the only thing you have to give them is an ID number, and they know that they're dealing with the
something like
person.
Vehicle licensing, driver's license.
Yeah, vehicle license and other things like that are quite common applications. And so we've been focusing on how do we respect the privacy and the security and enable efficiency. And I think that's where the ID card is coming from. And then really on the back of that, giving you transparency to see which entities have actually accessed your data.
Okay. Paul, we're going to take that commercial break now. Minister, when we return, I think we're going to be joined by Ms. Althea West Myers, who's the Director, Center for Business Development. As well, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
COVID-19 vaccines are the only way forward in reopening our borders safely. Take the COVID-19 vaccine to protect yourself and the ones you love, especially those of us who cannot get vaccinated. For more information on the COVID-19 vaccine, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Honorable Andre Ebanks, Minister with Responsibility for Investment, Innovation and Social Development. Also in the studio with us, Mr. Trevor Gibbs, who is the Senior Policy Advisor for Investment. And we have been joined by Ms. Althea West Myers, the Director for the Center of Business Development. Ms. West Myers, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Minister, over to you. You're more than a minister this morning. You're a co-host.
Happy to help. Before we move or shift subjects, I just want to give a public thanks to Ian Tippett for his contribution this morning.
Yes.
To recap on all of the projects that his team is working on for innovation. As he mentioned, he called it a commando team of 5. So yes, it's a small team, but they are small but mighty, working on a lot of large projects. And they've done that in addition to the innovations that they want to do, that they have already done for social development in respect to the needs assessment unit, and more advancement that they want to have there. So I'm really, really pleased and thank him for his contribution and his team for his contribution. Mm-hmm. And then as we now turn to the ministry, there are other able folks who assist the ministry and the minister as we now turn to investment. So as some of the comments that I made from the outset to recap for those who maybe didn't join at the top of the hour. So investment, we're looking for ways in which to have additional veins of economic activity. And one particular project that we were quite pleased to announce in the last week or so was the Commonwealth Climate Growth Fund, which is a project that is to establish a fund that will help to finance blue and green projects throughout the Commonwealth and the overseas territories. It's not an idea born of this administration. The idea emanates from His Royal Highness when he visited in 2019, and he said something profound, that here you are, the Cayman Islands, you've mastered bringing investment funds to the market. The world needs assistance in terms of being able to fund projects to adapt and mitigate climate change. Mm-hmm. Your country is going to be impacted by climate change. Why not put the two together? And the private sector and the government at the time listened. And there's no need to be partisan about it. It's a very good project that this administration was very happy to continue and bring to fruition. The way that the fund works is that at least this jurisdiction needed to show a signal that it was behind the project to create this investment fund. Cayman Islands has committed $25 million, not a penny of which will be spent until the fund has a number of commitments and reaches to the level of commitments of $750 million minimum. And then at that point, if that dream is realized, then the fund will start calling on those commitments so that it can begin to fund projects over a 6 to 8 year period. So nothing is in a rush, and they don't draw down your commitment all in one shot. They do it per project. And as part of the arrangement, the Cayman Islands will receive $50 million in a return to fund blue and green projects locally in the private sector. So we're really excited about it. It marries two concepts. It marries the fact that the Cayman Islands is a jurisdiction of choice for investment funds, as His Royal Highness noted. And then also it is our way of saying to the world, this is how we are going to contribute and put our shoulder to the wheel to assist with climate mitigation and adaptation. It's a combination that I think has so much synergy that it really wouldn't be for the Cayman Islands to pass up. So I'll pause there. That's one project that we're working on from an investment standpoint. That's more so external facing. In terms of internal facing, we're also trying to develop an investment program to draw inward investment to the island, and to do so in a way that doesn't require, there'll be some, but doesn't require a large amount of expenditure for us in the Cayman Islands to travel around the world. Let's think about this in the most prudent fashion, most economical fashion. And in my time in private sector and in the ministry, the most successful inward investments that I've seen has not been from the Cayman Islands necessarily traveling the world. It's bringing the potential investor, to the Cayman Islands to see what the Cayman Islands has to offer. And that's usually what people buy into. They love our way of life, they love our culture, they love our potential, they love our professional expertise. So we would like to develop, and in the process of developing a program that comes away from that derives itself from that strength of being able to showcase what Cayman Islands has to offer, and developing a potential investor criteria of what is the right investment for Cayman. Not that it's something that will only benefit the potential investor, but how is it going to benefit the actual people of the Cayman Islands, and have that social component so that we have a set of investors that understand where the country would like to go and integrate and assimilate into the country that has wider ramifications than just dollars, but also socially and environmentally.
Okay, I'm told that Ms. Jane Scaletta has joined us via Opal. I don't know if you want to say hello and introduce Ms. Scaletta.
Well, let's do a mic test. Jane, can we hear you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, all right. Yes, loud and clear. There you are.
So Jane is the director of Invest Cayman, which is really going to take up the charge of the investment projects that we have. And she's ably supported by Trevor Gibb. Trevor should point out his family history while we're on here.
Sure.
Because people want to say who you're for. So I'll let Jane say a few words, and then Trevor to come in.
Certainly.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Actually, it's very exciting to be able to tell you about Invest Cayman. Now, our vision is to become a global leader in creative and innovative investments that actually act as a catalyst for economic and social transformation in the Cayman Islands. Exactly what the Minister has been talking to you about. It's wonderful to be under this particular ministry because it is perfectly blended with investment, innovation, and social development. And it takes all three for there to really be some sort of an effect in our community and in our country. So, do you have any questions for me?
At the moment, let's let Trevor.
Trevor,
come
okay.
in, give him some spotlight.
Thank you. So I'd like to just give a sort of a brief understanding of the investment division of the ministry and our overall remit. So under the investment division, there is, of course, Invest Cayman, as Ms. Scaletta just introduced. There is the Center for Business Development, which is headed up by Ms. Althea to my right. And then there is also the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office, who is headed up by Ms. Candace Westby. And the overall remit of the division is to attract and support appropriate investment into the islands, as the minister spoke to. This isn't just investment for investment's sake. This is investment towards government priorities, government initiatives as dictated by the minister, by cabinet. It's also towards initiatives that are going to benefit people of this country. So part of what we're trying to achieve is sort of developing economic diversity in addition to putting investment towards government initiatives. And the importance of economic diversity, of course we know that financial services is a very strong pillar of the economy. We know that once the borders reopen, that tourism will take its rightful place back at the head of the table as being part of another major pillar of the economy. But if the COVID experience has taught us anything, it is that a resilient economy is going to put the Cayman Islands in the best position to deal with any problem going forward. And a diverse economy also provides maximum opportunities for the people of this country. So, for example, if we are trying to bring in investment into the country to help to develop another industry, for example, this will allow our people to be able to be diverse. It will allow for not everyone is going to be able to be an accountant, to be a lawyer, to be a doctor. Not everyone is going to be able to join the financial services industry. Not everyone's skill sets and desires and dreams are focused towards those industries. If we have a diverse economy, that will allow the economy to absorb so many more skill sets, so many more dreams, so many more businesses that will be able to achieve synergies with the social development arm of our ministry. So as the social development arm of the ministry helps to bring up Caymanians to the fore, we need to have an economy that is able and capable of absorbing everyone and their diverse sets of skills and dreams and businesses and desires. So it is the remit of the investment division to help towards those goals.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I think we're going to hear from Ms. Althea West-Myers, but we also have Ms. Scaletta on the line. And I have a question from our audience that I'd like you to think about. And they mentioned the fact that we talk about inward investment and attracting investors to the Cayman Islands. But how do we deal with those persons who are already resident in the Cayman Islands, those Caymanians who have the financial wherewithal to invest, whether or not the need for investment coming from the outside, whether or not that is as great as we think it is, simply because we have individuals here, Caymanians as well, who have the ability to invest themselves. So I want you to think about that, Ms. Scaletta, and we will hear from Ms. Althea when we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're unfortunately on the last leg of the show this morning. Time goes by so quickly when you're talking about very, very important things that affect all of the people of the Cayman Islands. But our conversation is taking place with Honorable Andre Ebanks, Minister responsible for investment, innovation, and social development. Also in the studio with us, Mr. Trevor Gibbs, who's the Senior Policy Advisor in the Ministry. We also have Ms. Althea West Myers, who's the Director for the Center of Business Development. And we have Ms. Jane Scaletta on the line with us, who is the Director of Invest Cayman. I think Mr. Gibbs, you wanted to clarify something for us as well?
I'll give me 20 seconds.
Sure. Sorry, Minister.
Tell the listening public that
Okay.
This is Trevor's rookie debut on the radio on behalf of the ministry. And he's been a delight to work with. And to see a young Caymanian get involved, roll up his sleeves and dig in and have such a great presentation, I just wanted to highlight that to the listening public. And you're right that the question that you posed before the break lends itself as a great segue into what Trevor was going to continue to say, and then over to Miss Althea.
And as far as Trevor's concerned, I know one government department that lost him and have regrets in that regard as well.
Tough.
So yes, Ozzy, thank you for raising that question from the listening audience. So, as the minister alluded to, the investment division's remit is to attract and retain investment. That doesn't specifically mean that all investment has to come from the outside in. It is also drumming up and supporting investment that will come from our local populace and persons who do have the wherewithal to make major contributions towards investment initiatives. And as the minister alluded to, one of the major initiatives that Ms. Scaletta and Invest Cayman are working towards is developing a program by which instead of traveling around the world, going to potential investors, outside investors, and trying to say, hey, Cayman is great, please come down, have a look, and see what we might be able to work on, is setting up programs whereby major events, internationally recognized events, potentially sporting events, cultural events, arts type events, are hosted here in the Cayman Islands. bringing all eyes to the country, providing job opportunities to work at the events, providing training opportunities for persons working at the events. Naturally, people from all over the world will want to come to be a part of these events. That's the attraction to the Cayman Islands. So instead of spending money to go overseas, we're spending money right here in the Cayman Islands. We're making sure that there are opportunities for Cayman to host significant international events. When individuals do arrive, or our own investors locally are a part of these events, we can then build out around that sort of activations that are more business facing.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's at the table because they want to be a part of the event. Now, for those who might be interested, can we talk some business? Can we look to see where you might be able to help us towards some of our major investment initiatives?
And to add to that is another example that connects to the Commonwealth Climate Growth Fund. I'm going to make this point just in 2 minutes because I do want to get over to Althea because it also answers the question from a small business development standpoint. But the $50 million is part of the arrangement that should be returned to the Cayman Islands. What we're now doing is in the process, and those who are listening, do please step forward, who have investment or proposals around blue and green financing, so that if the fund comes to fruition, hits that $750 million, and $50 million is returned to the Cayman Islands, we can then give that to local investors, local entrepreneurs around blue and green projects to say, is this project viable? Feed it to the fund so they can invest in it, which would have the opportunity to provide job growth, to have those local investment business ideas come to fruition, and then also help with climate mitigation and adaptation. So that's another example in which where we can build locally. But those are larger projects. We cannot forget about perhaps those on a smaller to medium scale, which is where the Center for Business Development comes in. So I really want to spend the next 9 minutes or so to give Ms. Althea what's happening there from the overall purpose of the center and the activities it's currently engaged in.
Okay, over to you, Ms. Althea.
Okay, morning again, and thanks for having me. The Center for Business Development, we started just over a year ago. Well, we launched just over a year ago in September of last year, but we've been operating since March of 2020, just as the pandemic hit. We started a series of grant distributions. To date, we have $8.5 million distributed in terms of grants and $1.3 million in terms of stipends. So far, we've distributed $9.8 million to the sector for grants and stipends. We currently are distributing another $2 million. It's sector specific because it was designed for persons within the tourism sector, land and sea tour operators, in particular, with licensed sea tour operators, that is. And so far, and that has been $2 million that the minister actually identified for these particular, just to ensure that this element of the tourism product remains viable, because Cayman needs that kind of attraction in order to sustain the tourism industry, the tourism sector. So we identified that particular sector based on representation to provide support to. But the center is far more than providing grants. Our mandate is to support the development of small businesses in the sector. Governments worldwide do that to ensure that we don't just pay lip service to the small business sector. It's nice to hear people say the small businesses are the engines of economic growth. And that's it, generally speaking. But we are ensuring that we put our action behind those words to ensure that we provide real meaningful support to the sector. And so one example of that is the incubator that we currently run. We have 16 local companies within that incubator. And Trevor spoke earlier to the economic diversification. And when we were choosing these businesses, were very aware of the need to facilitate diversification. And so the program includes 16 businesses with about at least 12 different industries, including the green economy that the minister spoke to a while ago. So if you want to find a business that you could probably look to in terms of providing investment for in terms of the green economy, we have a business currently that does both green and blue economy activities within the incubator. And the incubator, I think, is a good example of the kind of depth that exist in the Cayman Islands as relates to small businesses. We have businesses such as persons involved in film production, persons involved in digital technology. We have fintech companies, we have legal tech companies, a wide variety. We have agro-processing just in that one space. That number of businesses gives an indication of the depth of the sector, and the depth of the Cayman Islands in terms of its potential for economic development. So we are there to support those kinds of businesses, and we do that through coaching, training, hand-holding. We actually get into the businesses themselves to ensure that we provide strategic guidance. One of the things that we are very aware of as it relates to small businesses is that they make decisions based on what they can do and not so much on what they should do. And one of that's where we get into the picture. Should you make these decisions? Should you, that is the kind of guidance that we provide to small businesses. We also are very involved in terms of working on the ecosystem that supports small businesses. So we're speaking with the banks, the universities, all of these private sector players that are critical, investors, potential investors, local investors who are critical to the development of these businesses is what we do, just in a nutshell.
Excellent. Minister?
And just to add, because Miss Althea is being quite modest, she's a wealth of knowledge in this space. I remember the particular stipend that she's referring to for the land and sea tour operators that have a WIS license. It was a novel concept that that particular group had approached the caucus with. That stipend so far had gone to employees, but they had identified as the business owner, what am I to do? And should there not be a stipend? I think they did research from other countries and identified a program that would facilitate the funding and the preservation of the assets of the business. So I went running to Miss Althea's office saying, I don't know that this has ever been done before in Cayman. Could you take a look at this? Yell at me if you think that this is a crazy idea. And she didn't. She read it and she said, well, Minister, this is perfectly doable. Give me a couple of days and I can write a proposal for you. And then here we are. So I thank her for that. The difficulty is that we'll all be a victim of that success because individuals also in the tourism space who do not fall in that criteria have asked, well, then what will happen to me? Could something similar be done? And so we're now in the process of crafting a second tranche based on monies received from Finance Committee for those who didn't fit that criteria, but we recognize are hurting right now during this particular period. So I want to thank her team for their hard work, not being shying away from a challenge and assisting the ministry and the government. Thank you. And the people of the Cayman Islands. Thank you.
Okay, we don't want to forget Ms. Scaletta, still on the phone. Anything you want to say to her before?
Well, Jane, you've been listening to the conversation. We've gone full circle from large investment funds to work that your department is doing, and then also Ms. Althea for the Center of Business Development for small and medium and micro businesses. Any other closing comments you want to say briefly in relation to Invest Cayman?
Well, just that it's the perfect circle, isn't it? It helps facilitate the development of all of these industries and ventures and enterprises that we're working on right now. And of course, it's going to be benefit to the economy of the Cayman Islands, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Okay, Minister, final comments from you?
Just briefly to say thank you again. Thank you for the listening audience. As these plans develop, some of those are new, some have been in train for a while, but we are looking forward to bringing a lot of this to fruition for the benefit of the people of the Cayman Islands. I'm extremely excited as the ministry staff, as you can hear. I'm quite complimentary of all of the division heads and policy advisors and department heads, because it's so refreshing for everyone to see a goal, see the synergy between the three subject areas, and try to move that vision forward for the people of the Cayman Islands. I feel blessed. So I thank them all for their able assistance, their guidance, for keeping me calm and saying, look, Minister, this can be achieved. Don't worry about it. We'll help you in every way that we can. It's refreshing, and I'm optimistic of the future of the Cayman Islands.
Okay. Now, as Mr. Tibbetts spoke about second quarter 2022, as far as possible legislation when it comes to the ID.
Yes. So hopefully by Q1, all things being equal, we can return to a show where we're at that stage, hopefully at public consultation. and be able to get public feedback on what's being proposed, policy questions that will definitely arise, so that we can fashion something that the country can see all the benefits and how it'll be constructed and how it'll help with daily life.
Yeah. And, certainly the challenges of COVID and stuff like that, I would imagine, is driving that as well.
Absolutely.
I would imagine.
Absolutely. I think from my perspective, the country has an enormous opportunity, as challenging as it might seem, of how we're going to continue to innovate as we move into a phase of coexisting with COVID. I think the country learned lots of lessons of how much more could be done, even through 2020. The world, not just Cayman, the world learned how much can be achieved during a lockdown period, and how we take those lessons and apply them to now to reimagine industries and add additional industries. As challenging as it may seem, I think that there's scope for large opportunities in there.
Okay, well, Minister, I want to thank you for being here. I want to say that the door is open. You certainly take advantage of the opportunities to highlight, what you're doing for the people of the Cayman Islands, what your respective departments are doing as well, and the door is open for you to come anytime that you want to discuss it, at least on For the Record.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your traineeship of a post-life as an MC. Thank you for that. I'm working on a fallback position. Thank you.
Okay. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And